Students, you need to remember all these equations in order to solve problems based on this chapter. Biot-Savart law, Ampere law, magnetic field due to straight conductor, magnetic field due to circular coil, magnetic field due to circular arc, magnetic field due to solenoid, magnetic field due to toroid. And even we have learned magnetic moment. Magnetic moment, capital M is equal to NIA, where I is current in the conductor, A is area of cross section, and we have even calculated magnetic moment of electron revolving around the nucleus. Those all equations you need to by heart in order to solve problems. So with this, part 1 of moving charges and magnetism is completed. Like, one concept is completed. First part is completed. Magnetic field produced due to current carrying conductors. That part is completed with this particular session. Now in this video session, we are going to learn force acting on the charged particle in external magnetic field. Students, in this particular session, we will be learning about force experienced by a charged particle which is placed in external magnetic field. Now in these animations which are provided on the screen, you have a charged particle. That charged particle is entering into magnetic field, and when it is entering into magnetic field, immediately it is experiencing a turning effect. It is taking a turn. When it is entering into magnetic field, immediately it takes a turn. By that, you can clearly understand a magnetic field will produce turning effect on the charged particle when it enter into magnetic field. See here, this is electric field. And this have charge Q. If a charged particle enter into electric field, the force experienced will be Q into capital E. Now, if this charged particle is negative, then F will be equal to minus Q into E. This is positive charge. This is negative charge. When the charged particle enter into external electric field, it will experience a force. Because of that, it accelerates. Once it enter into magnetic field, this is magnetic field. Magnetic field is denoted with B bar. Magnetic field is out from the plane of the screen. You are able to see that this is out. If it is symbol into, it means that it is inside. But here the symbol is outward. Magnetic field is coming out. Now when the charged particle enter into this region, it is immediately taking a turn. That means it experiences a turning effect. So it will be centripetal force acting on the charged particle. So magnetic force which is acting on the charged particle makes this particle to take a turn. So remember that charged particle experience a magnetic force on it which turn or deviate, and that force F will be equal to Q into V bar cross B bar. This is the force experienced by the charged particle when it enter into external magnetic field. You are able to see that charged particle, it is initially coming slow. When it enter into electric field, it is moving faster, and then when it is entering into magnetic field, it is taking a turn. Likewise here also, charged particle is coming with some velocity. Immediately the direction of velocity is continuously changing with respect to time. It is making some radius r, right? So this is radius r of the particle, right? It is experiencing a force, and the direction of force is given by left hand rule, Fleming's left hand rule. So remember that Fleming's left hand rule gives direction of force. Now, how to use Fleming's left hand rule? Take your left hand and put all the three fingers perpendicular to each other. You will be using three fingers here: thumb finger and index finger and middle finger. Remember that the thumb always represents this thumb. Thumb always represents force, and the index finger represent magnetic field, and the middle finger represents velocity of the charged particle. So it is F, and this is B, and this is V. Thumb represents force, index finger represents magnetic field, and middle finger represents velocity of the charged particle. Now let us see the direction of first charged particle which it is entering into magnetic field. Magnetic field is coming out, it is towards my side. Magnetic field is coming out from the screen of the laptop. So magnetic field in this index finger should be represented towards my side. So I am putting it towards my side. And the charged particle is entering exactly left side. So therefore I should put this finger I should put it right side. And in which direction it is experiencing force? So magnetic field is coming towards my side, and the velocity of the charged particle is left side. So it should be represented that the thumb finger represents force. So it should experience a force in downward direction, but of course here it will be mirror reflection shown in the digital screen. Similarly, in this case also, magnetic field is coming out from in the second part. Magnetic field is coming out from the screen. Charged particle is entering perpendicular into it. So use your left hand thumb rule. Left hand thumb rule indicates that magnetic field is coming towards my side, and velocity is upward. Magnetic field is towards my side. Velocity is upward. In which direction force is represented? Force is represented like this. Therefore, immediately when it enter into this, it experiences a force towards the center. Therefore, the force experienced by the charged particle in external magnetic field rotate the charged particle in such a way it rotates in circular path, and the direction of magnetic field is given by Fleming's left hand rule. Students, as I already mentioned, whenever a charged particle is moving into magnetic field with velocity v, it will experience a force, and that force is equal to Q into V bar cross B. But what is V cross B? V cross B is equal to VB sin theta. Therefore, F is equal to QVB sin theta. And what does this force do? This force make the charged particle to move in the circular path. Therefore, this force acts as centripetal force. This force acts as centripetal force, and therefore I can write this QVB sin theta equal to centripetal force. So magnetic force magnitude is nearly like it is equal to magnitude of centripetal force, which will be exactly balanced by centrifugal force. Therefore, FB FB is magnetic force, which is equal to QVB. If sine 90 obviously equal to 1, if both are perpendicular to each other, V and B are perpendicular to each other, sine 90 will be 0. Sorry, sine 90 will be equal to 1. Therefore, it is QVB, which is equal to magnitude of centrifugal force. Magnitude of centrifugal force is mv square divided by r. This v and this v can be cancelled. From here, r can be written as mv divided by qb, and you can write v is equal to velocity of the charged particle, which is 2 pi r divided by capital T. And this r and r on both sides gets cancelled. As a result, you can write time period T is equal to 2 pi m divided by qb. So you can remember that radius of the charged particle is directly proportional to mass, directly proportional to velocity of the particle. Radius of the charged particle is inversely proportional to magnetic field and inversely proportional to charge of the particle. Likewise, when the particle is entering into magnetic field, the time period of revolution is directly proportional to mass of the particle. Time period is inversely proportional to magnetic field and inversely proportional to charged particles charge. And these equations you need to by heart in order to solve the problem. Radius of curvature of the charged particle is mv by qb. Time period of the charged particle entering into magnetic field is 2 pi m divided by qb. Now, as I told you, depending on the directions of velocity of charged particle entering into the field, the force can be given by Fleming's left hand rule. You can use Fleming's left hand rule, and left hand rule represents that thumb gives the direction of force and middle finger represents direction of magnetic field, and the middle index finger represents magnetic field, middle finger represent velocity of the particle, right? So the direction can be determined by Fleming's left hand rule, that is one way, and the other can be represented with right hand thumb rule. So we have two rules you can use to find out magnetic field. One is Fleming's left hand rule and the other one is right hand thumb rule. Here in this case we are using right hand thumb rule. So rule 1 you can use Fleming's left hand rule, and you can use even rule 2 because it is cross product. Cross product always, the direction of cross product always gives by right hand thumb rule. You can learn that in vectors. It is given by right hand thumb rule. Right? According to right hand rule, you should use right hand. For left hand, you will use 3 perpendicular. For right hand, you will use this palm rule. What we do? Put 4 fingers parallel to first vector. Curl your 4 fingers towards the B bar, second vector. The thumb represents direction of force. Right? Now, charged particle can enter into magnetic field. Here, magnetic field is into. And charged particle is entering into this magnetic field, its velocity is given by v. So if its velocity is given by v, first 4 fingers you should put parallel to velocity v. This is velocity v, direction is right side, velocity v. Now you need to put magnetic, like you are putting these 4 fingers parallel to magnetic field, sorry, parallel to velocity. Curl it towards magnetic field. Magnetic field is into the screen. That's the reason why I should curl them into the field, and the thumb represents direction of the force. So charged particle will experience force in upward direction. This is how you can use right hand rule. Left hand rule also gives you the same. You can use left hand rule now. Here in this case, charged particle is moving right side. So velocity is this direction. Magnetic field is inside. Thumb is represented towards upward. Therefore, the charged particle which is entering here, it just go up, right? So this is how you can use Fleming's left hand rule, or you can use right hand thumb rule, and we can find out the force experienced by the charged particle. And these equations you need to by heart. Yeah. So in the first case, velocity of the particle is parallel to magnetic field. Velocity of the particle is parallel to magnetic field. In such case, what is theta? Theta is equal to 0. Sine 0 will be equal to 0. Therefore, F will be equal to 0. Since F is equal to QVB into sine 0, the particle will not experience any force. As a result, acceleration will be equal to 0. Right? Therefore, what is conclusion from this? Charged particle move with constant velocity without changing magnitude and direction. Charged particle will not experience any force. If force is equal to 0, remember that A is equal to 0 and V is not equal to 0. It will not experience any force, but it will be moving with constant velocity. Change in velocity is equal to 0, but not V. Therefore, when the charged particle is entering into this magnetic field, it will go on moving in the straight line path like this. It go on moving and it comes out from the magnetic field with the same velocity. That's number one. And now coming to number two, velocity of the particle is perpendicular to the magnetic field. So this is perpendicular to magnetic field. Magnetic field is upward. Velocity is into the velocity is perpendicular to B1. As we know, theta is equal to 90 degrees. Sine 90 is equal to 1. Therefore, F is equal to QVB, which is maximum. And charged particle experience centripetal force produced due to magnetic field. Therefore, FP is equal to, this will be moving in the circular path like this. As a result, outward there is centrifugal force and inward there is magnetic force. So magnetic force is balanced with centrifugal outward force. Both magnitudes are same. In such cases, you can write QVB is equal to mv square divided by r. From here, r can be written as mv divided by qv. Right? So the magnetic field, when it enter into magnetic field, charged particle can make one complete revolution. It can make one complete revolution, or it can just make half revolution and come out from the magnetic field. That depends upon the strength of magnetic field, velocity of the particle, and also the length of the magnetic field. How much length is present. This is case 3, where the charged particle is moving with some velocity v, and this is the charged particle, its velocity is v. It is making some angle with magnetic field. Magnetic field is along x-axis. Magnetic field is along x-axis. It is making some angle with x-axis. This is angle theta. Okay. Now magnetic field and velocity of the particle, they are neither parallel, they are not perpendicular. What we need to do, this charged particle which is here, this is the charged particle and it is entering with velocity v like this. I need to resolve this velocity into components. One component perpendicular to the magnetic field and another component parallel to the magnetic field. And this parallel component, one component is parallel to the magnetic field. One component is perpendicular to the magnetic field. Now this can be V cos theta and this can be V sin theta, right? V sin theta is perpendicular component to magnetic field. V cos theta is parallel component to magnetic field. Now the velocity vector can be resolved into parallel and perpendicular components. So once if the velocity vector is resolved into parallel and perpendicular components, force experienced due to parallel component is equal to 0. Force experienced due to perpendicular component is equal to Q into V sin theta into B. So force experienced by perpendicular component will be Q into V sin theta is perpendicular component which is perpendicular to magnetic field now, and B is magnetic field. So Q V B sin theta. This is force due to perpendicular component. So because of this, the charged particle here V is equal to, that means parallel component V cos theta is equal to constant. That means the charged particle should move with same v cos theta velocity along x-axis and also it should take turn. Therefore, due to two components, charged particle take helical path. Helical path, that is straight line and circular. Both combined together give you helical path. So because of this v cos theta, the charged particle is moving in forward direction. And because of this v sin theta, charged particle is taking the circular path. This is called helical path. Now in between these two helical paths, there is some length, right? This length is called pitch of helical path. That is pitch of the helical path. So immediately when it enter into magnetic field, the charged particle other than 0 and 90, if it enter with any other angle, it will take helical path that you can see clearly in the animation. Check it in the animation. See that. It's going upward by taking turn. In the animation, you can see that clearly. It is going like this. Going upward and taking turn. Both happening simultaneously. That is called helical path of the charged particle. Students, as we know, in order to calculate pitch, pitch depends on horizontal component. horizontal component of velocity. So I can write pitch, which is equal to distance between two circular path, which is equal to distance is equal to speed into time period. Speed into time period of revolution, right? What is the speed here? Speed can be written as V into cos theta. And what about time period? Let me take it as capital T. This is equation for pitch. Now T is time period of revolution that you need to remember. You can take that time period of revolution and substitute here so that you will be calculating pitch of the helical path. Likewise, we know QVB is equal to M into V sine theta. M into V square into sine square theta divided by R, and here also it will be V sine theta, right? This V sine theta and this V sine theta gets cancelled. R is equal to M V sine theta divided by Q into B. This is equation for R. R is radius of the helical path. R is radius of the helical path. Now you can write it as V equal to 2 pi R divided by capital T, that I can substitute here. R is equal to M into 2 pi R sine theta divided by Q into B into capital T. This R gets cancelled. T can go here. T is equal to 2 pi M sine theta divided by Q into B. This is equation for time period of the helical path, right? Now you can take this time period and substitute here so that you can find out pitch of the helical path. That is case number 3. In the first case where F will be equal to 0, and in the second case F will be equal to QVB, and in the third case F will be equal to QVB into sine theta. Yeah. Students, we have seen that whenever a charged particle is entering into magnetic field, it will just take a deviation. Magnetic fields always deviate charged particles. Electric field always accelerate charged particles. Electric field cannot deviate them. They only accelerate. Magnetic fields will deviate charged particles, but they cannot accelerate. Those are very important things you should remember. Now, there is some distance d over here. The magnetic field is only within the range of distance d. A charged particle of velocity v0 is entering into the magnetic field in such a way it cannot take one complete path. It cannot take one circular path, or it cannot take one half circle. So as a result, what would happen? It would just take a deviation and it comes out from this region. It is coming out from this position. So this is velocity with which it is coming out. Magnitude of velocity will remain same as it is, but the direction is undergoing changed. The direction is being changed. And this is the direction of charged particle initially. Initially, this is the velocity of charged particle. And R is radius of curvature of the charged particle. This is radius of curvature of the charged particle. This is radius of curvature of the charged particle. And obviously, this also will become R, which is radius of the charged particle. And this is length traveled. This is length of charged particle which is being deviated. This is length which it has been deviated. right? So this deviation, it is considered as theta. This angle is considered as theta. Okay, I can now write length of the arc of charged particle in magnetic field is L is equal to R into theta, where this R is radius of curvature of the charged particle. R is radius of curvature of the charged particle. So when charged particle enter into this magnetic field, radius of curvature R can be written as mv divided by qb. Now this charged particle is undergoing some deviation, right? That deviation I want to find out now. Deviation of particle is theta. I can just write it as sine theta, which is equal to, you can even take small correction. Take this, already it is been marked as theta. So this length, I am considering it as x, and this length, I am considering it as y. Right? So I can take sine theta is equal to opposite side divided by hypotenuse, which is equal to r. Okay, opposite side divided by hypotenuse will be obviously radius of curvature of the charged particle. Okay, now what is r? We have already calculated, it is mv divided by qb. So I can write sine theta is equal to x divided by mv into qb. So theta is equal to sine inverse of x q b divided by mv. This is deviation of the charged particle in external magnetic field such that x is less than r. Like this x value, that means length of the magnetic field is less than radius of curvature of the charged particle. That is number one. Sometimes it can be that x can be greater than radius of curvature. Sometimes the length of magnetic field can be greater than charged particle. In such cases, what would happen is you can just write theta is equal to, or r will be however same. R is equal to mv divided by qb, where r is radius of this charged particle. As if it is magnetic field b bar greater than r, what happens is that the charged particle enter into magnetic field and it can take one semicircular path. It comes out like this. This is r and this is r. It is the total diameter of that particular radius of curvature. So I can write r is equal to mv divided by qb. So particle take semi-circular path and come out. So when it is coming out, you can write theta is equal to, that is omega into time taken t. Okay, so deviation will be theta, which is equal to omega into t, where here theta can be taken as 180 degrees. Theta can be written as 180 degrees. So omega is 2 pi r divided by capital T is equal to omega. So T is equal to 2 pi capital R. It's not 2 pi here, I'm sorry, because it is making only half of the complete circle, right? So therefore it is pi divided by capital T into small t, and it is pi r divided by capital T into t. Theta will be equal to pi into r can be written as mv divided by qb into small t divided by capital T, where capital T is time period of that particular revolution. So hence, whenever a charged particle is entering into magnetic field, it can just deviate by some angle theta. It can take half of the circle and it can come out from the magnetic field, or it can even make one complete circle in external magnetic field. That depends upon velocity of the charged particle, charge of the charged particle, and the strength of magnetic field. Based on that, any of these cases can happen.